And what's up? Welcome in Friday episode of GC Live. Whew, everybody take a deep breath. What's up? Hope y'all are good. I am solo right now, so y'all are going to have to bear with me. Probably will hit a lot of your questions. And it's going to be a fun show because we got plenty to talk about. Again, I'm Wes Mitchell. We'll be joined. We've got some guests lined up, y'all, but they're sort of they all have things going on. So hopefully they're still going to be able to join us. My plan right now is that we'll be joined by Jamie Shaw. Many of you hopefully already know who Jamie is. He is now working for On3 as a national basketball recruiting guy. He's going to be on to talk to us about what may be one of the biggest official visits in South Carolina men's basketball recent history in G.G. Jackson from Ridgeview. So Jamie will be on hopefully shortly. Jamie is traveling right now, so we're sort of trying to work that out. But Jamie should be joining us shortly. Happy opening day as well. So we're going to talk some South Carolina baseball. Collyn Taylor, who was earlier today covering the Board of Trustees meeting for GamecockCentral.com. We'll talk about that in a second as well. He is on the way to Founders Park to the baseball field for a 4 o'clock first pitch for the Gamecocks. So Collyn's going to try to check in with us once he gets there and gets settled in for what will be that sort of a little final look in heading into opening weekend about what you can expect from South Carolina baseball. And then we're going to talk some football as well, of course, with South Carolina. Just moments ago, one of the committees within the Board of Trustees approving some new contracts for South Carolina football assistants. So plenty to get to. We're going to hit all the sports here today on what should be a very busy, exciting weekend in Gamecock Nation. Not to mention a massive, fun opportunity for South Carolina women's basketball on Sunday afternoon. College game day is going to be in town. I know you guys and girls fill up the arena for women's basketball anyway and support that team, support that program. But going to be just a really cool moment for Dawn Staley and those ladies and everyone involved in that program to have college game day involved. So should be a fun. I saw one of you tweeted, I think that was yesterday, the day before, that you were hitting the trifecta this weekend: baseball on Friday, men's basketball on Saturday, and women's basketball on Sunday. So should just be a really, really fun weekend in Gamecock Nation. Before we get any further, let me tell you about my good buddy Clint Hammond of the Mortgage Network. Clint is the presenting sponsor of GC Live. Head on over to ClintHammond.com if you want more information on Clint. If you're on the video version of the show, which I hope that you are, it's absolutely the best way to watch GC Live or to experience GC Live on YouTube. You can see Clint's smiling face right there in front of you. The NMLS number is 71597. Email address chammond@mortgagenetwork.com. Again, ClintHammond.com is the best way to find all of Clint's information, his background, and all those things you might want to see before you dive into a new mortgage. If you want to refinance, try to save some money, or if you want to buy a new home, guys, the interest rates are going up. So you might want to lock it in before they go up even more. Give Clint a shout. Again, 803-771-6933. We got about, I guess, we got a little bit of a low number on here today. I guess it's Friday afternoon. Maybe y'all are already checked out. Maybe you're already heading to the ballpark. Maybe you are in a situation where you can't join us. But if you are on the show, if you're in the chat, go ahead, hit us with your questions. As long and until Jamie gets here or until Collyn checks in, this will be a very, very listener, viewer driven show, and I'll answer any of your questions. Gamecock Chuck coming in already with a quick question. What a beautiful way, Gamecock Chuck, to start off the college baseball season with the most important question of all: is the game televised any this weekend? I'm not. If you're talking about baseball, they are all on SEC Network Plus, I believe. You can go check out GamecockCentral.com for Collyn Taylor's complete breakdown of this weekend's series. Let's go out now to my buddy Jamie Shaw. I see Jamie. Are you ready? And don't let us get you in trouble, man. I know you're traveling, but we appreciate you taking the time. Let's bring Jamie in if we can. Jamie, can you hear us? Jamie may be going through a dead zone. Let's try one more time.
Can you hear me?
Jamie, I see you. Can you hear me now, man?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Jamie Shaw
Good.
joining us now. Jamie making it happen, dude. Do not wreck, man. Do not put me in the position for this to be my fault. Okay.
Hey, and it's on camera too. That it's all on you.
Yeah, that is true. So we're gonna say a prayer for Jamie who is joining us now on the road. Jamie, you texted me yesterday and or maybe it's the day before, I don't know, and you said, Wes, you didn't mention, because I had my buddy Mike Yuva, coworker Mike Yuva, on there. We're talking about the big weekend for men's basketball. You said, Wes, you didn't mention Gigi Jackson, who is going to be on his official visit to South Carolina this weekend. The Ridgeview absolute stud. So I said, Jamie, let's get you on the show, man. How? I guess first of all, let's talk about it from that perspective. How big of a weekend is this for South Carolina basketball in them putting themselves in a position they would hope to land a 5-star talent?
It's huge. I mean, you sit there, look at it, and the state of South Carolina is. I mean, maybe Kevin Garnett, who left to go to Chicago Farragut Academy, is the only #1 player the state's had. Gigi Jackson is the #1 player in the country, and he's from 10 minutes up the road. And South Carolina got a legitimate shot at him. It's a perfect storm. You have LSU, which is a big game. They've been ranked this year. They're a tournament team. You have Legends Weekend coming in with honoring the two teams and everything. And you have Gigi Jackson, and you have Cam Scott's coming in as well for the weekend. It's a really big deal. And if ever South Carolina fans were to get behind the basketball program, this weekend would be the weekend to make that
So
place lit.
yeah, so Jamie, I've seen the South Carolina basketball coaches already sort of maybe hinting online on Twitter, trying to get people to, hey, they can't say his name, but they we want Gigi maybe chant this weekend, and I think they're trying to put it in the fans' heads, like, hey, you can make a difference this weekend. So while we have you, man, I know people know the name. But what can you tell us about his game? What type of player? Obviously, if you're the #1 player in the country, you're a 5-star talent. You can do a lot of different things well. But break it down for us a little bit and tell us a little bit about his game if you can, man. And we are losing Jamie again. Jamie went. If you can hear me, bud, let me know when you start being able to hear me again. Hey, shout out Mike Yuva. Mike, where are you at right now, man? Are you out there enjoying opening day yet? Are you enjoying a nice Still Hands brew? Check in, man. Let me know what you're doing. I'm Mike. I may need you to fill in and hop on here with me. I'm not good at doing the show by myself. I'm gonna take Jamie out and try to re-add him again. Y'all hit me with your questions. Bruce asked if he had missed something on Chris Clark. No, you have not. Chris is taking a all right, Jamie's going to hop back on in a second, y'all, so we'll be fine. Chris is actually taking a little quick break from Gamecock Central and is more focused on the Garnet Trust side. Obviously, most of you know we've got Gamecock Central, we've got Garnet Trust, two two similar or two entities that are tied together but are separate entities. Chris right now focused on helping us get a couple of new little ventures off the ground on the Garnet Trust side. But Chris, I can guarantee you we'll be back on the Gamecock Central and the GC Live deal as well. Mike says he is in the bullpen if needed. What's up, Brandon? Hope you're well on Facebook. Francisco, man, coming in hot. Wants to know, does the seat get warm for Kingston if the season doesn't go well? You know, I thought opening day was about positivity, y'all. Opening day is supposed to be about hope. Opening day is supposed to be about the fresh air, as Mike so eloquently put it in his piece today, his column, which you should go read on GamecockCentral.com. Opening day is supposed to be about hearing the crack of the bat, smelling some popcorn and maybe a cold beer, and enjoying the fact that right now everybody is undefeated. So, Francisco, it is a valid question. It's a very valid question. And I think we all know if the season does not go well, yes, South Carolina fans will start to heat up Mark Kingston's seat. No doubt about that. But right now, I don't know if that's the conversation right now, man. There's a lot of unknowns about this baseball team. And the thing with unknowns is it literally can go either way. This could be a surprise baseball team because I don't think the expectations are necessarily incredibly high, but that also leaves room for the team to surprise and to be a group that surprises and captures the attention of Gamecock Nation. Let's go back out. Let's give Jamie Shaw another shot at this. Jamie, you look very smooth now, not choppy. I think we got you settled in now, man. We good now?
Yeah, I hope so. I pulled off. I'm in Cherokee, North Carolina right now on my way to Tennessee. I just pulled off at a gas station, so hopefully we're good.
Yeah, man, it looks and sounds great now, dude. And again, I appreciate you taking the time today. I know you've been traveling a lot. You're on the road. By the way, so I don't forget it, everybody go check out Jamie's work on On3 now. We're on the same team again. Jamie was at Rivals when Gamecock Central was over there. Jamie's at On3 now. I hope Jamie's having a blast because I see he's in the gym all the time, covering ball on the On3 network. And dude, you get around a lot. So what has that been like to be on the road and see a bunch of guys all at once?
Oh, it's great. It's where I wanted to be. Very fortunate. Rivals gave me the opportunity to start off with about a year and a half ago, and then as this whole thing was going with On3, it happened very quickly about the turn of the year. And ever since I guess early January, mid-January, kind of the same time. It was kind of funny that it coincided with y'all's move over as well. But yeah, it's been incredible. On3 is a great company. I love the way they're putting toward fans as opposed to putting toward teams, having fan sites as opposed to team sites and all that type of stuff. And even starting from the top with Terry all the way down, the experience is the big thing within the organization, and it's a great experience for the subscriber.
No doubt, man. And Jamie, you've seen a lot of basketball players in your time. So what I was asking you before we sort of got cut off there was G.G. Jackson. Obviously, even your most casual fan that has heard the name at this point. They know he's a 5-star guy. They know how important it would be for South Carolina men's basketball. But what can you tell us, kind of fill in the gaps a little bit? What can you tell us about him as a player, the skill set? What does he bring to the table? What will he bring to the table at the next level for the team that is lucky enough to sign him?
Yeah, so he's 6'8", 6'9", and off the rip, he's super athletic, got a lot of pop, explosion in his game. Where he's really developed over the last year is his creation ability. His ability to kind of get the ball in the half court and create offense for himself off the bounce. He's always been kind of bigger and everything and lengthy, the ball skills of what's really developed. So now he's a really good ISO one-on-one type player, especially in the mid post. He can knock down the three, grab and go off the rebound. He's moving laterally and everything. Defensively, able to switch a little bit. Great weak side shot blocker. And the crazy thing is he's still young. Like his body is still physically growing. And the jumps that he continues to take year after year. So his freshman to sophomore to junior years have just been exponential, and he's still got some room for growth, which is what makes him so intriguing with his body and frame. I mean, he doesn't even look like he's got hair on his legs yet. So as he physically matures and continues to grow, the ceiling continues to get higher and higher.
Again, joined by Jamie Shaw, On3 basketball recruiting analyst. Jamie, going into this weekend, obviously a big opportunity here for South Carolina, a big opportunity for Frank Martin, that staff. What are you hearing on his recruitment? I know it's been, I guess, thought for a long time that South Carolina is in it. Certainly, they're in the conversation. Seems like from what I read, North Carolina is in the conversation. Where, just from what you hear, man, what are the Gamecocks' chances and what are the factors at play here moving forward?
So it's kind of morphed into a three-man race. You have Duke, you have UNC, and you have South Carolina. The being the local hometown hero thing is really an intriguing prospect to Gigi. And as you know, Gigi's a very, very engaging, charismatic kid, and he likes home. He's a homebody. Also, his mom loves Frank. His mom really likes Frank Martin a ton. And would even somebody say that would want him to play for Frank. And that's what's kind of kept him in it is Frank, to be honest. Duke's obviously a power player with everything. I know Gigi was at the Duke game when they blew the doors off of UNC a couple weeks ago as well, so he saw that. UNC kind of there was a lot of rumor, a lot of talk around UNC back in November. He's kind of one of those situations where if it was UNC going to be UNC, why hasn't he committed yet? Gone through all this process and everything too. But South Carolina's right in the middle of the mix. The relationship with Frank Martin that the family has is right there, and it's keeping them in.
What do you think? And this may be difficult to answer, but if it is something you can answer, what do you think needs to happen this weekend? Do you have a feel for what he and his family may be looking for? Like, are there questions you feel like need to be answered? What does South Carolina need to do to feel good exiting this weekend, do you think?
Well, I think a number of things could play into it. I don't think he needs to necessarily see anything, from the fan base, which it'd be great, Gigi Jackson chants and walking in and a lively crowd. And that's amazing because he's visited Cameron Indoor and seen their stuff. He's visited UNC and he's seen big time environment. So it'd be great to see the big time environment. But I think the comfort level of Frank's tenure as the coach will play a big role in this as well. And also, give him a comfort level. Can they develop him into a pro? Can they win games? But I think the biggest thing is, and I don't know how you show him that this weekend. Obviously the fan base show you love and do all that, but will Frank be the head coach the entire time that he's on campus?
Yeah, and that's a valid question, and it's a local kid, it's a local family, so they, I'm sure, hear the conversations. They hear the conversation in the community as well. So gonna be just very intriguing to see how this whole thing plays out and the timing for all this to play out. Is there any word out there right now on when he may want to make a decision?
He has said to me that, kind of in this time frame, into the high school season, into the type of situation. So in this time frame right now is what he has been said this whole time. Now, as you well know, once it comes time to commit, then it's like, let's wait a little bit longer, because he's got a whole, as he flips from a junior to senior, he's got 5 new visits to start over as well. So time frame he's held fast has been the February-March time frame. Now, as it comes down to nut crunching time and it's time to do it, will he? That remains to be seen. But he's taken official visits to all his leaders so far. And this is the quote last one.
Yeah. So we'll like as you said, man, we'll see if and I see this covering football recruiting all the time. It is so fluid when a guy's going to actually announce. So we'll see, man. It'll be very intriguing to see how this weekend goes and the reaction following that. While we got you, Jamie, and I want to let you get back on the road here, man. So we won't keep you, but if you can give us a couple of thoughts on the guys that are already signed up for South Carolina or committed that are coming in. I know you had a great story when we first moved over to On3, breaking down some of those guys. But for our listeners and viewers, what do you like about the class that's already locked into South Carolina?
They fit roles. We just updated our rankings. Zach Davis we put in. I can't exactly. It's like 145, 146, somewhere around that in our 150. He's got incredible upside. He committed to South Carolina at 16. I think he'll be 17 when he enrolls. Upside's huge with him. Will he come in immediately and play? We'll see. He's still got a lot of growth to do and a lot of stuff to get to, but he's got that 6'8", long. He really sees the floor well. He's got a unique game to him, and one that can really help. You can do a lot of stuff off with, having a 6'8" guy who can handle the ball and initiate allows you to have, other positions to where you can have more scoring oriented people or defensive people. Daniel Sanford is a tough guy. He's a very, very good defender. He can defend up and down a lineup. 6'6" with about 6'10", 6'11" wingspan. Very strong frame as well, and not afraid to stick his nose in there and do the dirty work. And then Bryce Lindsey's a big time shooter. 6'1" guy. He's got deep range. I likened him in the article. He's in the archetype. Shades of, I guess they say, Jamel Bradley. I don't know if a lot of people remember him. When I was in school, Jamel was a big time guy. But yeah, he's kind of got that same type of thing. Jamel came in, if I'm not mistaken, as a walk-on from Beckley, West Virginia. He kept making shots, and then got starting lineup and marksman and all that. So Bryce Lindsey could possibly have that similar type thing. Similar size and all that. More of a two guard than a point guard if he can develop the ball handling a little bit and figure out a way at 6'1" to get a shot off and everything against SEC competition will be major keys for him. But they all fit roles. You have a marksman, you have a tough guy defender, and then you have the huge upside guy that you can kind of build the team around. It's a solid class, and we'll see if it's done. Obviously, the transfer portal is a big thing. There could be guys classifying from 23 to 22, and some creative stuff to end it up. You never know who's leaving and staying and stuff too. So it's a good class to this point.
Yeah, no, it's never ending as far as the portal goes. So certainly something to keep an eye on there. Jamie, dude, we appreciate you making the time. Appreciate you taking the time. Everybody go follow Jamie at JamieShaw5 on Twitter. When was this picture taken, Jamie? There's a photo. His profile pic is him and Kobe. When was that taken, man?
So that was when Kobe was in high school. So he was a senior in high school then. So that would have been what, 95-ish maybe, 95, 94, 95, wow. Something in that time frame. So I was about 12, maybe in that picture, 12, 13.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Y'all go follow Jamie at JamieShaw5 on Twitter and check out all of his work on 3. Hey, Jamie, be safe out there, man. We appreciate you taking the time, okay?
I appreciate it, Wes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. That's Jamie Shaw. Does a fantastic job on the On3 network. Glad to have Jamie on our side and on our site as well. Mike Yuva may be joining us in a moment on a little impromptu visit with Mike. And then again, I think that depending on the traffic and depending on how long it takes Collyn to let his dog out, which I believe is what he's doing right now, and how long it takes him to get settled in at Founders Park, we may have a live look-in with Collyn for one last thought on opening day. Tell you what, while we have a moment before we get to Mike Yuva, who's going to join us here momentarily, let me tell you about our new friends. I want to say thank you to the fine folks here in Columbia at Liberty Tax. You can overcome your taxiety, which is that feeling you get when you start to do your taxes and you really just don't know exactly what you're doing. Maybe you've got a new job, or maybe you're in a situation where you, like Mike, you've changed jobs and you've got a lot going on as far as your taxes go. The fine folks at Liberty Tax can take care of you. By the way, that URL, libertytax.com/12590 will get you hooked up with the local Liberty Tax folks. Or you can follow my man Larry Slaughter on Twitter at Larry the Taxman. Larry, that's a great Twitter, man. That's a great Twitter name. We are now sponsored by the tax team at the Liberty Tax locations in Irmo, Lexington, and the new one in Columbia on St. Andrews Road. That's 1123 South Lake Drive in Lexington, 7467 St. Andrews Road in Irmo, and then 551 St. Andrews Road, Columbia, South Carolina, near the Harbor Freight. They are locally owned and operated. You can have virtual income tax prep, or you can go in person, and they do not disappear after April 15th, though right now they are open on evenings and weekends. So again, appreciate my man Larry. 803-462-5576, and find the local folks at Liberty Tax. What's up, Carrie? How you doing, man? Carrie hopping in on YouTube. By the way, if y'all have questions, hit me up, because this is we're flying by the seat of our pants today. We wanted to make sure that we had a show because there was so much going on, but the plan got completely thrown out of the window when the Board of Trustees meeting went a little bit long, and of course there's baseball coming up as well. So we're making do. If you did not see, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and we'll give you the new football information that you need. If you haven't seen it yet, Jody Wright, South Carolina tight ends coach. This was already known. This is not new necessarily, but it is now official. Jody Wright is South Carolina's tight ends coach. That was approved. All of what I'm about to talk about was approved today by a committee on the Board of Trustees. And Jody Wright, where'd it go? It's a 2-year contract running through the end of 2023. Jody Wright will make $350,000 in year 1 and $400,000 in year 2. So Wright gets a new contract. Also, several South Carolina football coaches getting extensions, up to 6 guys. 6 guys, if you include Luke Day, received raises and or extensions. Pete Limbo is up to $465,000. Let's see. I'm going to give you all the full list. Pete Limbo, Clayton White, Montario Hardesty, Justin Stepp, Jimmy Lindsay, and Luke Day, all receiving extensions and or raises. Clayton White becomes $1 million man, 1.1 mil a year. That's up from $900K last year. Stepp moves up to 475. Will make 525 next year. Lindsay up to 375, and Luke Day got a raise up to 425, with Montario Hardesty getting a raise to $350,000. You may be, important note here, you may be wondering, why was Torian Gray not mentioned there? From what I understand, Torian Gray's contract already had automatic raises built in when he was hired by South Carolina. So he already had those things in place to where it did not require a new contract in order for him to get a raise. Let's see. Yeah, let's take some questions. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to invite Mikey on here. Every time we have a guest, I have to invite them on in order for them to get in on the show. I'll get Mike in here. All right, there we go. Yeah, we'll hit some questions. Eric on YouTube asking, wasn't Jody Wright credited for Alabama's top recruiting classes? Yes and no, Eric. For several of those classes, Jody was there for 3 years as he was actually there a couple of separate times at Alabama, but he was the director of player personnel for Alabama when they had just absolutely that stretch of phenomenal classes. And now you may be sitting at home saying, well, everybody recruits well at Alabama. And yes, it is very different recruiting at Alabama than it is pretty much anywhere else. But they did, he was there during, I would say, a stretch when they were just they started to be absolutely dominant in recruiting. In let's see, 2015, 16, and 17. I believe I might be off on that, but it was that 3-year stretch in there where they just had some phenomenal classes. If you search Jody Wright on YouTube, there's actually an excellent interview while he was with the Giants, but looking back on some of those classes. And it was actually with a guy I used to work with who does a phenomenal job. I think does as good a job as anybody covering Alabama recruiting, and that's Andrew Bone. But if you hit YouTube and search for Jody Wright, if you search for Jody Wright on there, you'll find a great interview with Jody with Andrew. All right, y'all, I gotta get Mikey in here. Greg said, did Justin Stepp earn his raise with that vague tweet last night? So the vague tweet, and I love how some of these guys use Twitter in recruiting. Stepp had obviously talked to a big-time wide receiver prospect. From what I understand, no commitment there or anything like that, but the Gamecocks are firmly, I would say, in the conversation with Noah Rogers, who is a 4-star wide receiver from Rolesville, North Carolina. And I believe that is who, from what I was told, I believe that's who Justin Stepp was talking about in that little tweet. USC SEGY wants to know, do I think DeCarrion will be the backup quarterback? That's a good question. I don't know, man. I think Luke Doty will be firmly in that conversation there at quarterback. So I think DeCarrion's role will be similar to what you saw from him this past season, but I think you will see him when he is at quarterback. I believe they will call it a little bit more like he's a quarterback as opposed to him being a wildcat player, if that makes sense. I think too often this past season, they sort of put DeCarrion in a box, basically. And what I mean by that is they didn't have him throw the football enough to loosen up defenses. We saw in the bowl game what DeCarrion can do when you sort of loosen defenses up a little bit. And, I think basically if he does that, then he can have if they use him that way, then he can have a really nice role within this offense that can be successful, as opposed to kind of being asked to do some things that I think put him in a tough situation last year, in my opinion. All right, y'all hang tight. We're still trying to get Mikey on here, trying to get Collyn on here. Maybe if I get Mike and Collyn on, they can bury the hatchet. They have a little bit of a Twitter war going on. Alex wants to know, will we see more additions to the roster through the spring? Through the spring, I would say no. Not likely. Well, and it depends on what exactly you mean, Alex. There will be no more additional players. There will be no more additional players on the roster for spring practice. Now, I think you're going to see some players potentially added after the spring if the right guys are out there. Mike's trying to get settled. Mikey, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go on. He says 1 second. I see Mike is wearing his mixing a water shirt. But yeah, so Alex, if they were to add anyone to the roster right now, which I don't foresee it happening, they wouldn't be able to get in until the summer. But even then, I would imagine after the spring, they have 2 scholarships left. So after the spring, you would see South Carolina possibly add a couple of guys there. I'm watching Mike run around his house right now. I wish y'all could see this actually. It's pretty entertaining. Mike's getting settled. Collyn's going to hop on live from the ballpark at some point once he gets settled in. Then we're going to have Mike and Collyn fight it out on GC Live. I lost you, Mike. You're frozen, buddy. Brandon, as far as the current situation with Jalen Brooks, that has been a question that has been asked quite a bit. I still do not know an answer for that. So I'm not trying to avoid your question by any means. I know that's a question a lot of people have asked for quite a long time. But I don't know. I don't know Jalen Brooks' current status. I don't know what Jalen Brooks' future status is with the team. At last check, I believe Jalen was hoping to be back with the team, but I don't have an answer there. So I know a lot of you have asked that. A lot of you have brought that up. But I don't have an answer. By the way, South Carolina just sent out a news release that Shane Beamer will speak on Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. And he will also introduce new tight ends coach Jody Wright, who will speak to the media for the first time at that time. Mike, are you ready down there, man? All I'm seeing is a gray box. So your connection may be out there, man. Brandon asks or mentions that the roster will have to be trimmed down some. Yes, absolutely. The roster will at some point be trimmed down going into next year with guys leaving. And you're gonna have natural attrition pretty much every year. There'll probably be a little bit more attrition from South Carolina this year if you just look at the numbers there. Let's try to bring Mikey in. Mike, can you hear me, man?
Yeah.
There he is. All right. So Mike is joining us off the bench, out of the bullpen. Are you going to the baseball game today, Mike?
I am, and sorry for wearing the sunglasses. I just my beautiful blue eyes just cannot do the sun down here, else I'm gonna look like squints. But that's appropriate because I'm wearing my Sandlot socks today, going to the ball game. But apologize for the delay. I just received some breaking news, but it's not the type of breaking news that we typically do at Gamecock Central. I found out that my parents are coming tomorrow, so I love my parents. Maybe if they're listening, I love you. This isn't anything negative. Caught me off guard. So had to do a little tidying up right before I hopped on, in addition to taking a quick shower. So, but here we are. Yeah, headed to the ballpark right now. I am quote unquote off, but Wes, I mean, we're never really off with this job. We'll see who's at the ballpark tonight, whether it be basketball, football connections, try to network a little bit. Well, Collyn, Kendall, and Michael Salza cover the game for us at Gamecock Central.
Well, I can tell you one person who's at the ballpark, and he's about to join us. We're going to go 3 wide here, y'all. Collyn, are you ready to come on? Are you ready to try this? Give me a thumbs up, Collyn, if you're ready. Oh yeah, we're gonna try to bring him in. Look, Mike, look at this beautiful guy. I'm telling you, the sun shines a bit better on an opening day. Collyn has a smile on his face. The sky actually looks amazing behind you, Collyn.
Thank you. I had a lot of input in that.
Yeah. What's the vibe at the stadium like, man?
It's your typical opening day. A lot of optimism. The weather is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the sky looks great, but it's 70 degrees, breeze blowing out the center. Feels good. Feels good to be back.
All right. Collyn, are you and Mike able to? Are y'all going to be able to be on this thing at the same time without fighting each other?
Well, I mean, I actually have to go do work here in a second. He's just hanging out at the ballpark today, so I might.
Well, time out. I'm doing work. I'll tell you what. My first day, I believe one of my first games I covered for Gamecock Central. I was in the stands and I said I'm on bench duty. I'm on Blue Moon duty, and someone retweeted it. So I'll tell you what. I've been loving this gig at Gamecock Central. If I have to be the one that takes one for the team and sits in the crowd and has a beer today, I'll do that. That's the type of team player I am.
Yeah, I caught like every other word of that.
But I said
No,
I'll be.
Yeah, I caught every other word, but yeah.
Well, the most important question is, Collyn, what is the game day attire? What's the game day attire for you? I know a lot of people are curious about that.
So I got to give a shout out to Braden Webb and Jonah Bride, who FaceTimed me this week. They got to pick it, okay? So we got this shirt, got some khakis, and then we got Yoda socks. So that is what Braden and Jonah picked out, two South Carolina legends. So that is what they have picked, and that is what we're rocking with today.
Love it.
I dig it. Let me hop in real quick, and Collyn, we're gonna let you go to work, man. But give us your. We talked to you, I guess, last week about the season, the expectations overall. What are your expectations this weekend as far as this matchup and the pitching situation for South Carolina? Seitler's going to get a start, and not necessarily what they had maybe penciled in to start, but there's been a couple little nagging injuries there. What give us an update on your expectations for this series?
Yeah, let me get out of the thing so I'm actually like not a ghost, but it's expectations to win it. Expectations to go out there and take 2 out of 3. UNCG is kind of pitching backwards. They're starting their ace on Sunday. So it's to get good outings from Will Sanders and James Hicks, who are going to be in your rotation regardless. And see what you get from Seitler and see if the offense can take a step forward and you see progress there.
The Hicks kid, you just mentioned him. What can fans expect from him? What type of pitcher is he?
Pitch to contact guy, 92, 93, good breaking ball. A guy that just goes out there and gives you some length from the starting position, and I think it's pretty good.
Are you going to have chicken on a stick today?
It's a good question. I might have to.
Can.
Fourth, fifth
He
inning.
can.
Might be.
You didn't see the report yesterday? TK, unfortunately, he's got other things going on today. He will not be at the game. You missed the most important report yesterday that we put out on Gamecock Central. So appreciate you reading our free work. But
well, I mean, I was working on a 2,500 word feature story all day yesterday. I'm going to see a high school kid play. So sorry I wasn't on Twitter to see your report.
I was on the forum until 5 a.m. writing 3 stories, but you don't hear me complaining. Sometimes you just got to play hurt, man. Are you hurt or you injured? Sounds like you're just hurt, You're not injured.
Yeah. No, but see that press box? I have to actually go sit in it at some point soon.
All right, well, Collyn, we're going to let you. We're going to let you go get some work done, man. What can Gamecock fans expect from you this weekend on GamecockCentral.com?
We're going to have plenty of observations, analysis, game stories, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. That's what I can promise. I can promise a lot of fun.
There it is. He's Collyn Taylor. Go check it out at Collyn Taylor on Twitter. We appreciate it, man. We'll let you get to work, all right?
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. See you, Collyn. Man, y'all can't leave each other. So, tell them about the message that you got, and please confirm to everybody that you and Collyn actually do love each other.
Oh, we just bust each other's balls. I mean, that's just. I mean, it's fun. I went to Collyn's wedding. I know you were there too. I went to Collyn's bachelor party, if you will. It wasn't anything crazy, no strip clubs or anything like that, just in case Michaela's listening. It was very, I think the craziest part was, I didn't even know this was a thing. Mario Kart, which is basically Mario Kart while drinking beer. It was pretty fun out in Asheville. But no, Collyn and I are good friends. He was definitely, when I was at Watch Fox, he was one of those guys. Anytime I needed someone to come on the show, even like last minute, which I know can be a pain in the neck. And Wes, I know you've been in those situations. You're like, shoot, I need to be able to get a guest, or someone cancels. Collyn was the type of guy that always stepped up to the plate. He was always there. So Collyn and I just bust each other's balls. It's a running joke. The fact that I have to address it, or we have to address it, isn't as fun now, because some people I actually would like them to think, but shoot, what are you gonna do? I mean, some people that know Sweet Lou, who covers high school sports for the state newspaper, who does a tremendous job. Him and I also have a very similar social media feud that's been going on for years. But I will say this, though, in addition to what Collyn mentioned from a baseball standpoint, Kendall Smith, who works for us as well over at Gamecock Central, she is doing a video, and she'll kind of capture the sights and sounds at Founders Park today, because you got to think about it, right? It just hasn't. Last year's opening day, it was ripped away from a lot of people because of how limited the crowd was, because of the COVID protocol that was still put in place. So you have that excitement going on right now, and we're going to be able to capture that in addition to obviously the tremendous job that Collyn does from a baseball standpoint. And I mean, shoot, busy weekend for Collyn, busy weekend for Gamecock Central, busy weekend for Gamecock fans. I know Jamie Shaw was just on talking about Gigi. Going to be in attendance tomorrow, Colonial Life Arena, honoring the 1997 and I believe, was it 1971 teams. And then in addition to that, you also have a national televised game for women's basketball. So there's a lot going on this weekend. There's going to be a lot of good coverage over on Gamecock Central, in addition to opening weekend for the Gamecocks on the Diamond.
Are we going to get a "We Want Gigi Jackson" chant this weekend, you think?
Oh, yeah. Collyn's going to take his shirt off, and then he's going to spin around his head from the media section and lead the way after having, two old duels on the rocks. But, no, I think it will happen. I mean, I think back to, and I'm not trying to bring this up kind of like, all right, well, he didn't come to South Carolina. Well, we know that. But it's the closest thing that I can remember to any type of comparison in my short time of being here. I know Jamie mentioned Kevin Garnett, who unfortunately for Gamecock fans, he decided to transfer from high school and go out to Chicago. And that obviously changed a lot of things. And he went right from high school to the pros. But I remember when Zion had his official visit to South Carolina, and I still have it on my phone. Someone went as far as to have a custom Zion Williamson South Carolina Gamecock jersey, and it had Williamson on the back with his high school number 12, when he played at Spartanburg Day. So I've always just remembered that, and just the "We Want Zion," those chants. So look, obviously from a buzz standpoint, outside of Gigi itself, there has been moments this season for Gamecock basketball that has been deflating. But the positive thing that you got going on here for South Carolina is that you are coming off a huge win. And even though the possibilities of not just making the NCAA tournament, but just trying to make the NIT tournament, even though that bubble is about to burst and you have to do everything you can to make sure that thing doesn't, there is still that possibility. It's just that glimmer of hope. And I know Gamecock fans hate to hear that word, because hope goes together with Gamecock fans like, I'm going to steal a line from Big Daddy, like, lamb and tuna fish. I mean, it doesn't go together well, So I understand that there's some people that probably look at this window for how things are closing out, or Gigi coming in, and they just don't want to get their hopes up. But I mean, and I'm not telling you how to feel, but it's okay to smile. It's okay to have hope. It's okay to live a little bit, even if you feel like, hey, I'm just going to get my heart broken. Just be cautious. Kind of like going on a blind date, like, hey, I don't see how it goes, and let's have a fun time. Worst case, just like a blind date, could always just have a couple drinks, just make the pain go away. Please drink responsibly, though. It's a Friday night.
Yeah, life advice from Mike Yuva. Mike, how excited are you to go to the ballpark, man? You had a good little feature, good little column, I guess you will, on Gamecock Central that apparently you stayed up very late writing from what you told us a second ago. How important is opening day to you, man? What's it mean to you?
I love opening day, and like I alluded to before, it's much different from a majority of Gamecock fans because, for Gamecock fans, they've experienced it from a college standpoint. I mean, Fenway Park, and I don't need to tell people down here about Fenway Park. It's one of the most historic ballparks in all of baseball, never mind Major League Baseball. So the fact that I had an opportunity to grow up in Boston and go to one of the most beloved ballparks, and like I said, the connection for me with Fenway Park opening day, I only went to one, and that was the one in 2019 when Jackie Bradley Jr. and Steve Pearce received their World Series rings from winning that World Series the year prior. And that to this day is something that I'll always remember, especially with those Boston ties, is that, as neat as an opportunity as it was to see them get their rings on opening day, the fact that 6 months prior, two Gamecocks in the ballpark that I grew up as a kid going to did something that no school has ever been able to do in baseball history, and that's being able to produce both an ALCS MVP and a World Series MVP in the same season from the same school. I mean, think about that. Over 100+ years of history in baseball, and that's the first time that has ever happened. So the fact that that was able to happen, how you doing, ma'am? Making sure we're paying here for parking. We're on Gamecock Central right now. I want to say hi to everybody.
How you doing?
I'm off duty today, so I'm going to enjoy the game.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, thank you for coming to park with us.
You excited?
I am super
How
excited.
are you? What would you tell people from a parking standpoint? Is it starting to fill up pretty quick?
We are already doubling what we thought we were going to do.
And this is the one. Which one is this location? Just to give people an idea.
The one on it's assembly right across from Colonial Pretty, and we're the only people that charge $5. Everybody else is $10.
$5. Use the other $5 for a beer. Well, we appreciate it. That's the parking report today from Founders Park.
The parking report brought to you by Bojangles with Mike Yuva.
You won't get that anywhere else. Gamecock Central is the only one that will give you a parking report on opening day.
I can guarantee that no one else has that scoopage. Mike, final thing, man, and then I'm going to get off here. We got to get off here. You got to go get a brew or something. I've done too much work today. I'm ready to just call it a day. We'll let Collyn do the rest, huh? But, dude, some coaches getting some raises today. Clayton White becomes a $1 million coordinator. Well-deserved for him, man.
No, very well, and I apologize, guys, for I have the attention span of a goldfish, so I'm not really great with multitasking. But I just parked across the street, about to walk on over. I think it's great because here's the thing, Wes, and I can't remember if we've talked about it together, or if I've talked to Collyn about it, but I think the scary thing about everything in terms of when giving raises, right? Gamecock fans know this better than anyone else. You have the type of season that South Carolina had, right? You see what guys like Clayton White and some of these other coordinators, and not just coordinators, but assistant coaches, were able to do this season. Naturally, the first thing you think of is, let's give them a raise. Because you're afraid that they, number one, they deserve it, right? But number two, you're afraid that another school might swoop in and take them. The scary thing about that is that got you in trouble with this old coaching staff. And you were put in a position where you had to buy out a lot of those contracts. So, obviously some of those coaches, they end up moving on their own, but some of them were also fired and you had to pay the bill for them. So I say that because the biggest thing that you're looking for in year two is consistency from some of these coaches. Right now we can sit here. I know people are going to be like, oh, Marcus said, I get that. Okay. Look, that's a story for another day because I don't think it's as bad as some people think it is. And I think the offense is going to look a little bit different this year based on the ingredients that they have, and ingredients being the skill set and the players that they have on the roster this year in comparison to last year. But I think what you want to see is that consistency because just like anything in life, is it a one-hit wonder or is there something sustainable that makes you feel that you can invest, right? You can invest in a product. That product being these assistant coaches, being these coordinators, being Shane Beamer even. So I think that's the biggest thing you want to see. Is there consistency? And if there is, a guy like Clayton White, absolutely. Absolutely. Throw a blank check at him. Say, hey, whatever you want, you fill it out. Because what South Carolina was able to do defensively last year showed tremendous progress. And, Wes, I know we talked about it. We gave an update on the forum on Gamecock Central about J.C. Horn's injury, but I had an opportunity to see him at the basketball game last night, and him and I were talking about just the progress. And he said, look, he's like, we had talented guys. We had coaches that put us in position to succeed. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. But he sung high praise for what this coaching staff was able to do. And he thinks, especially on the defensive side of the ball, he expects them to be even better next year. So, I mean, that's coming from a guy like J.C. Horn, who I can promise you, he just won't blow smoke up you know what. He's going to call it like it is. He's very, very excited about this team and where the direction specifically with the defense is heading in. So I think that's the thing. You want to see consistency this year at certain positions to make you feel good about investing in some of these coaches long term. So it's not one of these situations where it's like you throw money at them and then it's like, oh, shoot, are they going to come back and play like crap and lay an egg? And now we got to do a buyout. So that's what South Carolina's got to figure out what they're going to do for next season.
Mike, good stuff as always, man. We'll let you get to the game, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
I appreciate it, Wes.
Yep, that's Mike Yuva, GamecockCentral.com. As always, check out Mike's content on the site. Again, really, really good column from Mike on GamecockCentral.com this morning about what opening day means to him. So go check that out if you will. Go check out Collyn Taylor's coverage of the baseball series this weekend as well. I'm going to get one more question. Alex, if you're still on Facebook, he wants to know what are the positions of need with all the recent talent added. I think, Alex, once you start looking ahead to the 2023 class, you probably can start to think about South Carolina needing balanced classes. And what I mean by that is there's probably not any one position that has to take a huge priority over the others. I do think if there was one spot, you probably still look at wide receiver. I think you also look at defensive end / edge for that 2023 class, like moving forward past this season. You look at some of the guys that they're going to be in a position to lose at defensive end, combined with the guys they lost this past year. Obviously, J.J. Nigbari, Aaron Sterling. You look at this year, Jordan Strong will be a senior. Jordan Birch will be an upperclassman. It'll be very important for them to continue to sort of replenish that spot. If you're talking about 2022 class and potential transfers, I still look at wide receiver. Can South Carolina add one more difference maker at that position? And I think that's maybe still the biggest need moving forward for this 2022 roster. All right, y'all. I appreciate the time. I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. It was a little bit. I know it probably wasn't the the most well-designed show. We had people hopping in, hopping on, and hopping off and stuff. But hopefully y'all got something out of it. Either way, we appreciate the support. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate my buddy Clint Hammond, ClintHammond.com. Appreciate Larry Slaughter and the great tax team there. Let me make sure I get Liberty Tax's address right for you. LibertyTax.com, 803-462-5576. And I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging with me. Everybody go enjoy the game. Everybody enjoy your weekend. You got baseball, you got men's basketball, you got women's basketball, and it should be a fun, really cool weekend. Shout out Rob, who subscribed to the new Gamecock Central site on On3. If you've not subscribed yet, guys, go check it out. The $1 deal is going away this weekend. After this weekend, you will no longer be able to get 1 year for $1. So please go take advantage of that. Again, GamecockCentral.com, 1 year for $1 on the On3 network. Rob, we appreciate the support, man. But if you're a GC Live watcher, viewer, listener, whatever, and you've thought about signing up to GamecockCentral.com, but you've never actually done it, this is your opportunity to do it because your first year, again, is just $1. So type in GamecockCentral.com and go check it out. I'm Wes Mitchell for Mike Yuva and for Collyn Taylor. Appreciate all of you for joining us, and y'all have a great weekend, okay?